Fundamentals of Meditation by Lucian. Green appearances 4 of 4. 31. I prepared to enter the room in the heartland. I did this by writing the room essay press release. First, I wrote that 250 Braysonings expanded to 50 as. Second, I wrote that the Braysoned Out pop song expanded to 50 as. Third, I wrote the classical music composition contained 5 pop songs. In this way, I prepared to enter the room in the heartland by writing the room essay press release. 32. I prepared to choose the necessary part of the room. I did this by writing the part of room essay press release. First, I wrote the chapter in the tram shelter on the corner near my house. Second, I wrote the chapter on the tram. Third, I wrote the chapter at the train station. In this way, I prepared to choose the necessary part of the room by writing the part of room essay press release. 33. I prepared to find the general interpretation of the direction essay. I did this by writing the direction essay press release. First, I observed the saint prevent suffering in meditators, graduates. Second, I observed the social network user block all the members of the particular industry theater studies company that blamed despite training. Third, I observed the social network user avoid them again. In this way, I prepared to find the general interpretation of the direction essay by writing the direction essay press release. 34. I prepared to compute the breadth-sunning in the center. I did this by writing the breadth-sunning's essay secondary text. First, I observed the master verify the human in the human judgment of the noun. Second, I observed the master verify the judgment in the human judgment of the noun. Third, I observed the master verify the noun in the human judgment of the noun. In this way, I prepared to compute the breadth-sunning in the center by writing the breadth-sunning's essay secondary text. 35. I prepared to quickly, re-breadth-sunning, complete the maze. I did this by writing the re-breadth-sunning's essay secondary text. First, I programmed the double maze science quiz. Second, I wrote questions in biology, chemistry, physics. Third, I programmed a password to change the maze runs to have unlimited time and enter and change the Hall of Fame of reaction times. In this way, I prepared to quickly, re-breadth-sunning, complete the maze by writing the re-breadth-sunning's essay secondary text. 36. I prepared to observe that the master had access to their room in control of the Education Consortium. I did this by writing the room essay secondary text. First, I wrote chapters the length of an honors thesis every 10 days in the master by coursework preparation. Second, I made the distinction to assess the Braysonning component of these chapters in my master students. Third, I observed that this allowed them to work on vibrant essays, while working on the master. In this way, I prepared to observe that the master had access to their room in control of the Education Consortium by writing the room essay secondary text. 37. I prepared to observe the master make space for parts of the room. I did this by writing the part of room essay secondary text. First, I observed the forestry fire. Second, I observed the wasteland. Third, I ran the computer simulation of this. In this way, I prepared to observe the master make space for parts of the room by writing the part of room essay secondary text. 38. I prepared to observe the master state that homosexuality was the correct direction for some people. I did this by writing the direction essay secondary text. First, I observed the number of religion members who agreed with homosexuality. Second, I observed the number of religion members who agreed with homosexuality increased after the first period of time. Third, I observed the number of religion members who agreed with homosexuality increased after the second period of time. In this way, I prepared to observe the master state that homosexuality was the correct direction for some people by writing the direction essay secondary text. 39. I prepared to read the announcement of the secondary text about human judgment of the noun. I did this by writing the Brett Sunnings essay secondary text press release. First, I stated that the human judge of the noun instructed the master. Second, I observed the master observe the safety guidelines associated with making a human judgment of the noun. Third, I observed the master observe that this was by eating fruit soon after picking it. In this way, I prepared to read the announcement of the secondary text about human judgment of the noun by writing the Brett Sunnings essay secondary text press release. 40. I prepared to write the Brett Sunnings essay press release secondary text, verify what will come. I did this by writing the Brett Sunnings essay secondary text press release. First, I observed the master read how teachers were acting as human judges of verbs. Second, I observed the result that the master verified the language. Third, I observed the master choose the descriptive, rather than the simple judgment of the verb. In this way, I prepared to write the Brett Sunnings essay press release secondary text, verify what will come, by writing the Brett Sunnings essay secondary text press release. 41. I prepared to file a police report. I did this by writing the room essay secondary text press release. First, I observed who the master was who identified the room. Second, I asked why the room identified the master. Third, I stated that poetry is how. In this way, I prepared to file the police report by writing the room essay secondary text press release. 42. I prepared to announce God, the master, to the part of the room. I did this by writing the part of room essay secondary text press release. First, I cut off the appearances. Second, I observed the reason the master named the part of the room. Third, I observed the way the master named the part of the room. In this way, I prepared to announce God, the master, to the part of the room by writing the part of room essay secondary text press release. Pranayama. 1.